Welcome to Let's Learn Railway Empire 2 Together. All right, hi, this is Attica and welcome to the start of a new series we're calling Let's Learn Railway Empire 2 Together. Now, I sent out a poll to our little community here and asked you, I said I'm thinking about just playing the game and recording my play, and we'll all learn the game together. Do you think it's a good idea? And I gave you two choices. Yes, we can learn together, or no, learn the game the way you normally would on your other series and then teach it to us. And the vote is a close one. It was 95% for yes, we can learn it together. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to learn Railway Empire together, and we're just going to jump right in. And I'm thinking of myself as a noob. I mean, I know I've played a lot of Railway Empire, and I've gotten up to a certain level of mediocrity on that game. But this is a new game, and we're going to learn it together. And just before we jump in, I do want to say, for those of you particularly those of you who are maybe new to my channel, we try very hard in this our little community to share stuff with one another. So a lot of the stuff that I show in videos going down the road will come from you pointing out, this is how I like to do this or that. Here's something you can think about, that kind of comment. So I really want you guys to be active commenters on all of these videos. The more you share with everyone, the better we'll all be. And I'm a little selfish here, but the better videos I will be able to make if all of you contribute your ideas, your thoughts, and say what you do and don't like. And if you see something I do that you don't like, point it out. And as long as you're respectful about it, I'll just smile and say, yeah, you got a point there. Now, if you go over the line, you won't be going over the line a second time. I'll just tell you that right now. So be respectful, comment, give us your feedback, tell us what you like, tell us what you tend to do. Make suggestions for how we can play better, and we can all get better. And another thing, a lot of you know this, as we get a whole lot of good comments, I will stop and actually make a video that will compile comments, and we'll walk through what that means and show examples of how that's done and how that can improve. So please put stuff out there. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff from Railway Empire we got from users' comments. The Jan Janssens didn't come from me, they came from Thynroot. The Johnny Hughes pass-through three-city cluster warehouse idea, that was Johnny. Hughes or Hodges? God, I always get his name confused. Anyway, Johnny, you know who you are. I can't believe I do that, but now it's in my head. I can't get it out. Anyway, first thing I want to say about the game, look at this. It's beautiful. I mean, I hope the game, if the game inside's as beautiful as this, we got something. All right, let's just go play the tutorial. I'm going to go jump straight into the first tutorial. Now, you'll notice I've already played them. And you're probably thinking, all right, Attica, what gives? You said you were going to play along and we were going to join you. Well, I did. I tried that. I recorded everything. But some of the background noises and stuff were just so out of whack that I had to go back and redo the settings and that kind of stuff. So I'll just do them again. Maybe I'll learn something. Tutorial 1, it's just going to be basics about stations and zooming and moving the camera around and laying track. And they're going to give us a skin at the end, a paint job for the Reindeer 440 that we can activate in our engine shed. So we'll start there. We're just going to go through as many of these as we can in this first episode. And if we don't finish, we'll finish them off in another episode.
Greetings. I've been expecting you. I'm Lawrence Vanderswag, and I want to help you find your way in the world of railways. I'll tell you everything you need to know to set up a successful transport company. Of course, if you want to make money transporting passengers, mail, and freight, you need to understand where the need for new railway lines is greatest. This is, for example, where goods are produced.
I must say, first of all, the prettiness. It is so far very pretty.
Have a look at the map. Move the map in all directions and change the zoom level. And now turn the camera in all directions. Very well. Now take a closer look at the area around the two cities, San Francisco and Sacramento. Cities and rural businesses are crucial to the transportation business. Cities produce factory goods, mail, and travelers. There is a need for transportation to other cities for these goods. Farms in the countryside produce basic goods and raw materials, which are also needed by cities. As long as there are no railroads, all goods must be transported via simple rural roads. But these transports do not cover long distances, are tedious and slow. Therefore, the transport volume is not very high.
Okay, and quick comment, we're learning a lot right here. I don't know if you realize it, but there's a lot of info here already about the whole ground transportation. It'll have implications in how we play some of the scenarios and all that kind of good stuff. So pay attention, this is good stuff.
Through the railroad, the old transport routes can be replaced. In addition, cities and farms that were previously too far apart can be connected. Improving goods supply ensures that cities grow. Rural businesses in the countryside also grow because they can sell more goods. Take a closer look at Sacramento. Under the name, you can see the size of the city. Move your focus to the city and you'll see what it currently produces for export to other cities. Sacramento has a steady supply of passengers, mail, and export goods every day, some of which is destined for San Francisco. San Francisco, in turn, has goods for Sacramento. Build a rail link between the two cities to take these shipments. First, construct a railroad station in Sacramento. Open the building construction to Selected. Then move it to a valid location within the Sacramento City region. It's best to rotate it so that the tracks face San Francisco.
Okay, grab a train station, and we look right down here. This is something I was not good at when I first learned Railway Empire. You look down here for hints on how to do things. For you console players, I'm a PC player. Everything I do and say will be about the PC, but almost everything that we do or say will be relevant to you except the actual controls about how the actions you take to actually do things like this. And you'll have to learn that on your own or from a different source. So for us to rotate this building, we do shift and middle mouse button. That's different, and that's going to take some getting used to for me, but we'll get there. Oops, got it backwards. Turn it around. I want to put the building back against those two. These two are industries right here. That's why you can't build over them. Let's put it like that.
By the way, each station can be expanded after construction with up to 2 additional buildings and 7 tracks. However, certain buildings like factories can get in the way of expanding the tracks. Therefore, do not build the station too close to these buildings.
And he's referring to the tracks only, I think. I think the buildings that we need to add to the station, I don't think, now I don't know this for a fact, that we'll have a problem with adding buildings into the station with those there. But where you don't want to get in a situation where you've got this turned so that the tracks are expanding out right into the business because you won't be able to use as many tracks as you would otherwise. That's what he's saying.
Now build the second station in San Francisco. Move the station to a valid position within the city borders and turn it preferably to the southeast so that you can get well around the bay in the next step.
Okay, he wants us to avoid this big lowland here, you can see. All right, so let's put this one in. We'll do shift and rotate that middle mouse wheel. We'll put it like this. Turn it kind of facing out here to the southeast a little bit, like that.
Very good.
Okay.
And now establish a track connection between the two cities. To do this, open the track construction mode and select the first station track at both stations in turn. The stations will then be connected and the entire track will be shown to you as a preview, which you can still modify.
Okay, so you click there and then you go over to your other one. And you click
The
there.
preview track follows the shortest path. However, this is not always possible and often not the cheapest solution. Especially tunnels and bridges can be very expensive. In the overview, you can see how the track construction costs are composed.
So we can see the whole thing costs $688,000. The actual tracks only cost 31, but we pay 20, almost 25 for earthworks. That's where we're digging out ground. And for the tunnel, that's this, what is that, purple, mauve, whatever color that is. That's the tunnel. And then this right down here is a little bridge that we've put in. And we don't want any of that stuff.
To change the course of a proposed track, you can insert track points and then move them. Now set such a track point once by selecting the track.
So let's go right where he says.
Now optimize the cost of the track with the help of track points. Please note that length, slopes, as well as tight curves will have a negative effect on the travel time of your trains. Then confirm the construction.
Okay, if we go down here, we want to get to the point where we're not building a bridge. Then we want to turn so that we're not going through this high point here. We can also do this H to toggle the contour lines, and we can see the actual contour, right? And you can see it's flat out here, very hilly here. You read contour lines, long spaces between them, flatter, tight, many tiny little spaces. That's very steep land, ground. So we want to grab, and just as a helpful hint, I can tell you from playing this the first time, I kept wanting to grab these. You can't grab the tunnel marker. You've got to make a marker, right? So if you wanted to turn this like to go up here, we've still got a tunnel in this, which we really don't want. Let's see if we can get rid of that tunnel somehow. There we go. They really don't want a tunnel. They really drive the cost up. So we still have a $300,000 tunnel in this thing. So let's take this marker, get rid of that marker, and then drag it up here like this. There, that looks pretty good. Little bit of slope right here. I'm going to shift and left click and get rid of those because they were pretty good the way they were. And I would like to get rid of that 5-degree slope. Let's see if we can drop this down a little bit. Make it 2 degrees would be good. And how about here? 3 is about as well as we're going to do. -2, 0. Okay, and I think let's go out of. Now we don't have to have we have a bridge there that we aren't really required to have. So let's move this there. Toggle. All right, there we go. So we got it down to 106 instead of what was it,
Very
650
good.
or whatever.
The track has been built and can be used immediately. Now set up a rail line.
All right, we'll go up here to new rail line.
Now add your stations to the rail line by selecting them one by one. It's enough if the rail line has 2 stations. Now assign the type of locomotive to the train line which all trains should use. At the moment, you have only one locomotive to choose from. Now specify how many trains should run on the rail line. To start off, 1 train is enough. The display tells you how many trains are currently active and how many you have requested. For each train, you have to pay the cost of purchasing the locomotive. Now confirm this cost.
The route of your rail line runs on tracks that are cleared for both directions, and the route offers no alternatives. If there is more than 1 train on this route, there will be conflict. So it's telling us that there's a single line of track there. You can't run 2 trains there because when one's going one way, one's going the other way, neither one of them's going anyway.
Fantastic! The train is now immediately deployed and will soon be on its way. Now close the edit mode to see the rail line in action. Zoom in on the train and watch it load. The train is loading goods, passengers, and mail destined for the other city. Let's wait until the train reaches the other city. By the way, you can increase the gameplay speed at any time. Also, the game runs faster when you zoom out.
Okay. There's a side of me that says that Railway Empire and Railway Empire and Port Royale 4 had a love child, and we are looking at it. Okay. So I'm going to zoom out so it'll run faster. I have a feeling I will be changing that option so that it isn't. It stays fast when you zoom down. Although there is an advantage to that if I wanted to chase this train and do something to it right before it hit home or something like that. Now we got bison on the highway. All over the place, my word. Bison have taken over Sacramento.
The train has arrived and is being unloaded. The numbers rising above the train are the transport revenue. This is the most important source of revenue for your company. However, each train also generates personnel and maintenance costs.
There it is, right
but
there.
more on that later. Keep watching for a bit and this tutorial will end.
Okay, that was good. All right. And I guess we're going to have to go through each one of them one at a time. So let's go to track construction. The first time through, it just automatically will take you to the next one. But
Hello! In this lesson, I want to give you some additional information about track construction. You already know the basics, but I have a few important tips. First, consider the cattle farm with the road connection to Sacramento. The road tells us that the farm can deliver goods to the city, in this case, livestock to the meat industry. But transportation by roads is slow and limited. Sacramento could produce more meat if the city received more livestock. Therefore, you are now to establish a railroad connection between the cattle farm and Sacramento. In order for a rural business to use a station, the station must be set up nearby. This is indicated to you by a line from the farm to the station.
okay, so we do train station. You can see we can go over here and we'll rotate it around a little bit. And right there, you see that line? We could go all the way out to there and still pick that up. If we go here in between these two, we can actually pick up both of these from the same station. And over here, just that one. So we're going to go between them. It just seems logical. We'll point it kind of toward, sort of toward Sacramento.
Very good. And now build a track between the new station and the station in Sacramento. Don't use the first two station tracks in Sacramento though, because we still need them for the connection to San Francisco.
Okay, so he wants to go into this number 3.
Great!
We want to leave that
But before you build the track, I want to explain how you can influence the height of a track. To do this, insert a track point on the track and change its height. You will see the controls at the bottom of the screen when you move the focus over the track point. With the height of a track point, you can influence tunnels, bridges, and slopes. Now, optimize the track so that no tunnels or bridges are needed, and the track has a length of less than 250 kilometers or 160 miles. Then, confirm the track construction.
Okay, so our track, you can see I can't point to them, but H is toggle the contour lines. That's this, where you see this view, the contour view. And then we can just grab that point and just move it around, right? We can do a right click on it and get rid of it. And we can grab it, and if we're hovering over it and we hold down shift and go move our mouse wheel, it changes the elevation at that point. Now I'm going to just actually get rid of it. And then we're going to build it.
Excellent. Now, set up a rail line between the cattle operation and Sacramento. To do this, create a new rail line between the two stations, select a locomotive and a train, and confirm the cost.
Okay, rail line. We're going to go Anderson Terminal to Sacramento. Grasshopper's our only choice. Sounds good.
That done, the rail line can begin service. But suppose the demand for cattle becomes so great that one train on this line is not enough. Then you would have to add another train. But this is not possible at the moment because there are no parallel tracks. Therefore, you should now build a side track and define directions of travel so that several trains can operate between the cattle farm and Sacramento. Open the track build mode again. Now select the track at the marked position to insert a switch. Now it gets tricky. You have to lay the new track as a parallel track to the existing one. Parallel tracks are much cheaper and offer many advantages. Move your cursor to the marked position and make sure that the parallel track symbol appears on the cursor. Then confirm the position.
Okay, the parallel track, you see, like it looks like two sets of track in parallel, and that would be a switch or a junction. So
very good.
Go.
Now the track will continue to be built as a parallel track. Now select the last position for your sidetrack near the cattle farm. You will see the complete track with two switches as a preview.
Okay,
then confirm the construction and pay for this track.
Okay, so that's still parallel. That would just be building more track. But if we go like this, now it's putting a switch in and connecting those tracks together. It's very nice. Okay. And we'll build.
Now you have to set directions for the two parallel tracks. Otherwise, your trains will always choose the shortest way and not use the side track. Now open the direction mode and select both tracks several times so that they receive different directions.
So we're going to click this until we're driving on the right, and we're going to click this one until we're
very
driving
good.
on the right.
Now your trains can go one way and return the other. Why don't you zoom in close to one of the new turnouts and take a look at the signals that were automatically created by the turnouts and the direction of travel. These signals define directions of travel and tell trains where to stop if the track section in front of them is already occupied or reserved. But at the moment, you don't need a second train on this route because your rail line can already transport much more livestock than the previous rural road. This allows the meat industry in Sacramento to produce more meat, which also benefits your rail line to San Francisco. Now, let's take a closer look at this rail line. Open the Sacramento City dialog by selecting the Sacramento City borders. You can select anything except special buildings. Important information about the city is shown here. At the top, the citizens of the city are displayed. Below that is how many wagons of goods the citizens and the industries in the city could consume and how well this demand is currently covered.
Okay, citizens, 2.2 wagons of whatever, and 33% fulfillment.
Furthermore, the current train usage is shown for freight, passengers, and mail. Below that, it shows how many passengers and how much mail are currently waiting for transport and how much is added per week. It is important to note here, these express goods do not wait forever. For example, after a few days of waiting, travelers will gradually abandon their journey or look for another way. The same is true for mail. So if you want to transport as many express goods to San Francisco as possible, a train should leave Sacramento every 5 to 10 days. However, your existing rail line only has one train and only reaches Sacramento every 15 to 20 days, so you have to put in another train. However, this route does not offer any alternative options for several trains. Now you have to change that, but this time with a different method than before. Open the track construction mode and build a railway line from Track 2 in Sacramento to Track 2 in San Francisco. You will see that this track is automatically planned as a parallel track and is therefore very convenient.
Okay, we click in Sacramento, we click here, and there we go. And we got a little bridge here. Do we? Yeah, a small bridge.
But two parallel tracks do not help yet. We still have to connect them. There is a very practical method for this, the station gridiron. With it, you can connect parallel tracks in front of stations. Select the station gridiron and build it in front of the Sacramento and San Francisco stations.
Okay, we'll click on this, come down here and hover over the track and drag out, and you'll see it's red, 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 and then as soon as we've come out far enough to it can put in switches, let me go down here where you can kind of see. There we go, there's our switches. And we go down to the other end and do the same thing.
Excellent. Now set different directions for the two parallel tracks so that the trains can avoid each other. Select the track direction mode again and set different directions for the two tracks by selecting the track sections. Excellent. By setting directions, all signals are automatically created here as well. Now your track is ready for more trains. Close the track construction mode and select the rail line from Sacramento to San Francisco. You can do this in several ways. First, you can simply select the train that is traveling between the two cities. Do that.
Now let's see if we can find it. I'm going to stop. Oh, there we go. I had to right click to get out of that directional mode. Now where's our train? Here it is.
You can also simply switch through all your rail lines. Try that too.
There's our cattle line.
And there is a third way. Select a track between San Francisco and Sacramento. Then, a list of all the rail lines that use this track will open on the left. You can also select the desired rail line from this list.
Okay.
Now select Edit Rail Line and increase the number of trains to 2. The cost of this is for the locomotive, which has to be bought new. Fortunately, the wagons cost you nothing. Confirm the cost so the second train can be purchased and then close the mode.
Okay, he just said this is beautiful. When I click on this line, this track, it shows me the lines that show up. If I'm hearing him correctly, we'll get a list of lines, and within that line, we can look at the trains, or we can edit that line. It's beautiful, beautiful. Those of you who are veterans will know why I'm happy about this. All right. Oh yeah, we're trying to add a train and confirm.
Perfect. Take a close look at the station and the station gridiron in Sacramento. The new train can be created immediately because thanks to the gridiron, both tracks are available to the rail line. The gridiron is more than just a crossover. While the train always chooses the shortest way at a crossover, at the gridiron, free tracks at the station are preferred.
Okay, now that is not the new train. The new train hasn't actually been created yet. It's waiting for this train to get all the way to the other end so that it can be properly spaced out. That's new too. That's beautiful. Haven't tried that yet with 3 or 4 trains, but I'm anxious to do so and will be. It's the first time we play the campaign, that's what we'll be doing. Okay.
You can place gridirons at all parallel tracks in front of a station if there is enough space available, because the more tracks are to be connected, the longer the structure. Since the station gridiron can only be used by one train at a time, I wouldn't recommend you to connect more than 4 parallel tracks. Now let's wait for the train.
And I will tell you, you're going to see feedback, negative feedback about this. People are going to build these giant long gridiron things, and then they're going to scream because only one train can go through there at a time. I can see it coming. And now there's our new train. It came up when the other train hit the other end. So now we're getting a new train here.
And already the new train is on the way. By the way, the train number of the train you are currently looking at is shown above. Switch through the trains on your train line once.
Okay,
this is useful, for example, if you want to see what each train has loaded. And that's the end of this lesson. You now know how to create switches, side tracks, parallel tracks, track directions, and station gridirons. With this, you can already create any complex track system. You'll figure out other objects like crossings as you build tracks yourself.
Beautiful. Let's go on to the next one. Maintaining trains. So some great new stuff there.
Welcome to my lesson on locomotive maintenance. First, you need to know that all locomotives have different maintenance intervals and consumption depending on their type. Take a look at the rail line between Sacramento and San Francisco. Here you can see the current state of the locomotive. The lower the condition is, the more often the train has a breakdown and stops on the way. Locomotives are automatically repaired at stations if they have a maintenance depot. To do this, try choosing the station in Sacramento. Here you can select Construct Extension. Do that and take a look at the options available. Then build a maintenance depot.
I think they goofed here because it's flashing on the routes, but that's not what they mean. They mean this. There's a maintenance depot, dispatch hall, restaurant, market hall, and post office. We can look at that later. But here's the maintenance department and click.
Very good. Whenever the state bar of a locomotive has dropped to about 60%, it will be serviced. And since the Sacramento station is used by both of your train lines, the maintenance depot also benefits both train lines. Now close the station again and select a train line once more. These 3 bars show the levels of water, sand, and oil. If operating materials are missing, the locomotive will be significantly slower. Water is needed on a daily basis. Sand is needed when going uphill to increase the friction of the wheels. Oil is needed to lubricate moving parts, and the amount required is dependent upon the distance traveled. All of the operating materials that a locomotive requires can be obtained at supply towers, which must be built along the tracks. Open the building menu and select the supply tower. Now build a supply tower near each of the marked positions. Very good. Both rail lines can now reach a supply tower. You can build them at any position along your lines, but they should be far enough away from switches and stations so that a long train can stop at them without creating conflicts. There is one more building that has to do with maintenance, the maintenance post. Select this building type. Unlike the maintenance depot or the supply tower, the maintenance post is not a required building type. It is suitable, however, when many trains come together in a small space because the maintenance post can reduce breakdowns and thus long traffic jams and conflicts considerably. However, this also results in daily upkeep costs.
Okay, I don't know what the big green circle is for. I guess we'll find out one of these days.
This brings us to the end of this lesson. Feel free to look around some more. Once you have finished, this tutorial will end.
All right, and I think we'll end our first little look here with the end of that tutorial. I honestly, I tell you how I kind of felt about Railway Empire 2 as early as this morning. I was thinking, this is just a redo of Railway Empire, and you know, I'm excited to have more campaign and more scenarios to play, but at the same time, I'm not as excited as some of you were. You guys were right. I really like the changes I've seen so far, just in this little bit of walking through the tutorial, the way you build the track, the way I love the click on this and see the lines. It's all, I think they're already kind of turned off now, but you click on this and you see the lines, and then you can look at the line and look at the trains, and you can edit one line and leave another line. It's just beautiful, beautiful. I'm looking forward to learning more about the game. Remember, comment, add your comments, contribute, and don't be shy. Don't think you're contributing too much. I would say there's no such thing. You probably could abuse it, but I don't think anybody will. And if you really are, I'll let you know. Or if in my opinion, remember I am the boss at the end of the day, at least for this, and at least for this channel. And but please contribute, help us all get better. I will try my best to get good at this game so that I can help all of you. And I know that I'll learn a bunch from each of you. So we're in this together, and I'll see you in the next one. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it'll help you become a better player. I hope you'll like, comment, and subscribe, and join us for our next video.